All right, so this is that 22.6 max from about a week ago. I just pulled it up on PT4. I don't know why I've been. This is as far as it goes back, which I guess is all right. Looks like we're about like seven-handed left. I would have liked it to go a little farther back, maybe the final two tables, but I guess this will have to do. I just wanted to go back a little farther because I thought this dynamic was pretty cool. Me versus this Genek guy. When I got here, I had about like 300k at this final two tables, and then I felt like I just siphoned chips from this Janik dude. He just kept clicking the wrong buttons against me, which I would have really liked to go back and see those hands, but we'll just have to leave it back. And here, this was important though, because this guy was he was pretty loose. That's why I'm gonna go for this second barrel here. Is he was clicking. He's clicking around a little bit. He kept showing up on rivers. He had already made. I'd ran like four plays on him when I go really light on for value, and he would just show up with like king high and like queen high in spots. But yeah, right now I feel pretty confident just kind of attacking these guys left and right. We're right on the bubble, FT bubble. I don't think I let OO limp one time here. And then here versus him, it looks like I'm playing a little mixed strategy. And actually, yeah, this is like the fifth bluff. I ran on him and I didn't like it as much because I just kept barreling into him. This was probably my least favorite of my bluff lines. I mean, obviously I got to fire two, and then the third one's close. I mean, I don't think I'm very balanced here. Against him, I'm probably still gonna, I'd probably check a 10 on the river. I don't know if he knows that or not. But I just expect him to call two streets with like king and ace highs, and then like some king jack, queen jack kind of hands. And I think if he has those, then the third barrel's pretty good. I mean, he's just obviously not going to call those down three times. But yeah, like I said, we had already kind of built this dynamic up between us. And this was, I remember in game, I was thinking, wow, this one's going to get called. You know, this was like my least reputable bluff. But maybe he was just sick of clicking the wrong buttons, so he didn't want to mess with me anymore. Here, probably should open that too. Both these guys have about 25 big blinds. I'm probably gonna fold the very bottom of my range, but a suited jack's pretty, I think, good enough. And here, just ISOing again, not letting the OO see a free flop. Yeah, it looks like I don't hate that fold as much as the jack two suited, but I should probably be putting some more pressure on these guys than from the button. Ah, shit. That was close. I can definitely shove from the big blind, but I think maybe just the history with this guy playing post. I feel like the more profitable play is just a flat and play a little low variance. Just not make too many mistakes post. Here he bets, and in my mind, I don't know what he's gonna bet here. I don't know what all of a sudden he's gonna bet for value. Maybe he turned to nine. I think the majority of his range is just gonna be some diamonds he has. Like I wouldn't expect him to check a queen or an eight on the flop and then at least not bet him, you know what I mean, and then bet the turn with those hands. Obviously a queen, if he checked it, he would bet, but yeah, I wouldn't expect him to all of a sudden bet an eight or a four now. Yeah, he has some jack tens every once in a while, but yeah, I just expect a lot of his range to just be like some one diamond hands or some hands he didn't see bet for whatever reason, and now he's just trying to take it down. So I don't think calling's the worst. I'm just trying to get to showdown. And he did have, yeah, he did have an 8. But that, I think that just reaffirms my point from just flatting instead of trying to play high variance with this guy. Just keep him small. And he calls again. We're probably going to check fold that turn. And then when he checks back, again, I mean, this guy's been so loose. I don't know if you saw the hand before. He had just like jack high on the one, or king high on the one. He called down. So I'm definitely just trying to get to showdown. And then he bets here on the river, and I just don't see what he. I don't see what he has. I think I wouldn't expect him to check a queen on the turn. And the hands he would check, I'm not sure that he's going for value now. So it's weird. It's weird to me that he all of a sudden bets. Maybe he hits a jack on the river. But again, I've been playing with this guy for so long that I couldn't see myself folding a pair to him. Yeah, somehow he has king queen. Here it's a pretty wet board, but I think we just gotta stick in a c-bet anyways. We're gonna get check shoved on a lot, but we're still gonna get a lot of folds. We got backdoor diamonds too, so definitely some barrel possibilities. Yeah, I don't see any reason to fold that flop. This is the first time he raised, so his range could probably be a little stronger, but I mean, we got king high. We're gonna be able to apply a lot of pressure later streets too. And then once we turn the 3, I don't really see a reason to bet. Could make an argument for betting for protection, but I think he still has some 10x's and it's stuff that I don't know if it's worth betting. Yeah, I don't know if his double barrel range is that reputable. I mean, I'd expect him to have some big jacks. We obviously have pretty good blockers to those hands. Yeah, he turns some king, like king queens, ace king, king tens, maybe king jack, but he's still gonna have a lot of other hands too. He's gonna have like 8 9 9 10, queen 10. 4 5. I don't know. He's gonna have a lot of hands though that we're still ahead of, and then he could still be value betting worse jacks, I guess. And this river was gonna be really close. He kind of tanked for a while, and I was thinking if he shoved, I would have to call just because he didn't really rep that much for a shove. I think a shove range would be pretty unbalanced because he could only really shove. Like I still have a lot of 7s in my range, which that was a pretty good river card for making the case to hero call because that should shrink his range there pretty nicely too. Like I don't even know if he would go for value with like king queen anymore. I think any one pair hand might just check back after that river. So if he shoved, I think he would just lean really heavily towards bluffs. This hand is definitely in that group. So yeah, I kind of wish he would shove just to see if I would have went through with it. But I think I had my mind pretty made up that I was going to call a shove on that river. Unfortunately, he gets there. Yeah, I don't see a reason to bet the turn. Still have a lot of hearts. I don't know if that we're gonna get looked up by worse very often. You know, maybe he has some like Queen of Hearts in his range. Even those I think might just double barrel on that board. You could make the case for some protection, but with the hearts and yeah, with what with what we still have, with the strength of our hand right now, I don't really see a reason to bet. But when the river ace comes, I think we just have to, yeah, we gotta bet. I don't like his call. I don't think it's hard to give me a range that's not at least have it doesn't at least have ace highs that would just peel a bet on the flop. So he knows I have some showdown value. Here, yeah, this is interesting. I don't know why I'm like limping certain hands and raising some other hands. I don't know, just field gaming out there. I do. I would like to see me just raise that hand though. Blind versus blind. Maybe suited limp it, but just at this stage. Here, this is a weird hand. I tried to go ahead and induce this guy just because we've been playing, had some history here, and it felt like I was kind of letting him get away with one if I just shoved there. And I definitely thought about flatting it too. I just thought, yeah, but I just thought maybe sticking it a 4-bet, he was just never going to fold to it really. So I expected him to spat shove a lot too. But then this flop comes, unfortunately, and this bet size. I guess my thought process here was I don't want to make it glaringly obvious that I don't have an ace. I don't want to play my hand face up. There's still some value to be had here too with this sizing. I could get called by worse. But yeah, I think my thought process was I didn't want to check and then just let him double barrel into me. Which, yeah, I don't know. It kind of sucks because now he could check shove a lot of spade draws that I'm just going to have to check fold to. Or bet fold to. So it does open up that. But I do think it makes me, it's kind of like a bet that's only going to make me pay off one street if I do decide to pay it off. When he just check calls. I think that was the thought process behind it. If I bet here, he's just gonna. If he does call, I don't expect him to lead turns very often, and then I would just check back and then see what happens by the river and make up my mind there. Yeah, interesting run out. And then his sizing's kind of weird too. It's almost just begging to get called. Yeah, I think I just fold here. I wouldn't expect him to make it with worse than aces or a bet with less than an ace. He doesn't seem very bluff happy either. I haven't really seen him run any bluffs against me. He seems to play pretty straightforward, if anything else on the really nitty side. So I think I just folded to this sizing. I would expect him to show up with some 9x, and some 8x, and then some ace-x. I'm getting a really good price though to look him up. I don't know if he, but like I said, I don't know if he just turns 10-jack into a bluff there on the river. I don't know if he's that kind of player. Here, I don't really see any reason to bet the river, so. Yeah, like there, I'm glad that I just go ahead and raise that hand. I mean, we're right there on the FT bubble. It's not that deep. You can apply a lot of pressure and just get a lot of folds. Like I said, he hadn't really been picking on my limps either, so maybe I was thinking like, well, if I could just take it down pre and not even let him see three, we'll see how long that goes. Yeah, just give up here. Yeah, that goes back to that other c bet I made. I mean, these are like the scariest boards for their range, but I think you just still got to fire it. I don't really see any benefit to checking back and then just letting them fire bluffs your way. So might as well. You're still going to get a lot to fold, especially three-handed. Theirs should be pretty wide flatting. A fold there. I guess I try to ease up. He has kind of gotten the better of me the last couple times. I'd still like to see a raise there. I think keep the pressure on. And I think I don't hate flatting, but I think this would be a good hand to go ahead and three bet. Maybe not against this guy, but well, even against this guy, I think I should just probably be turning this hand into a three bet. He's right on 30 bigs. Again, you got to put a lot of pressure. Just make it really big, like 120. Just try and take it down three. But I don't hate my flat either. That board doesn't really do much for us. And like I said, he's been pretty passive post, so I'm going to give his c-bets some respect. More respect than I would normally. Yeah, here I think I would like to just see a check fold if everything else I'm saying holds up. I just don't expect him to. I would expect him to be sticky, but I don't expect him to turn his hands. I don't expect him to be turning his like queen tens or his ace fives or any of those hands into bets on the turn. I think he's really just betting pairs here. So I think I'd like to see just a check fold on that turn. Yeah. All right. Looks like now we're at the FT. Ace, king, king. I don't see a reason not to see bet. Once he calls, though, and here on the turn, I know I pick up some equity, but I just don't expect to barrel him off an ace or kings, at least with two barrels. And I'm not going to fire three unless I hit. I think that's just a pretty absurd triple barrel spot on that board after he calls. So I'm just going to go ahead and shut down and see my equity with. Yeah, and then just go ahead and fold. I don't really know this guy. We just got moved tables. I know the stats I see on him right now are pretty tight. So I'll just go ahead and give him the benefit of the doubt and give that one up. I don't know if you would three bet this spot. He's a little short. He's pretty short. It seems like a pretty good candidate though. If I was gonna three bet him, that seems like a pretty good hand to do it with. I don't know how shallow you typically go. You might take that spot. Huh. That's a close spot. I could definitely take it. I think maybe my thought process was I'm sitting pretty comfortably in third, that second, third spot. I don't know if that if I want to start trying to go after the chip leader quite yet. Maybe see how these three stacks shake up a little bit more before I start taking a little higher variance routes. And so if that doesn't go through, that's like, yeah, that's a good fourth of my stack. You know, maybe wait for some better spots. Jack 10, go ahead and open, especially in these guys. This guy's definitely on the looser side. And I remember thinking this was kind of close. I think I'd go ahead and go ahead and fire a second bullet, and I wasn't crazy about it, but I also didn't really like just checking back. I felt a little nitty, and I thought I was just going to go ahead and bet call this off. But with this guy's numbers, I would expect him to be defending pretty wide, and then we had that conversation the other day. I think he's going to peel pretty wide too. If he check shoves, it kind of sucks. I don't know how often he just check calls and then like check shoves something like, you know, spade draws or those type of hands. This board, I don't know. It's just maybe my hand's a little too strong. There's a little too much out there to just give him a free card, I think. So while I don't love it, I think I was just going to go ahead and bet call this. And I think there's still value to be had from like his 4Xs and, you know, like some ace fours, some ace deuces, his ace fives, you know, maybe some like 5-6s or, you know, hands like that. But I definitely wasn't crazy about it in game. I wasn't really sure. Kind of getting shallowed out, starting to get into that push fold spot. I think I should probably be opening any two on that button into this big blind. Just his stats. I don't think he's going to defend wide. I don't think he's going to be reshoving wide enough. So these six maxes are fun though. You really like. I wish I could have gone back a few more hands, and you could have seen all the hands I played with Janik. I wish I could go back and see him again too, because I know there was just a bunch of places where I would just go for value with like third pair, and he would just click call with like king high or whatever. So you definitely like the dynamics build up over time, and it's kind of hard to really judge certain plays without that information. And this guy's just 4Xing every open, which I think I think that comes in later. I make kind of a lighter shove over it, so it's good to be paying attention. Yeah, here at these depths, I don't really want to be raised folding this kind of hand. So I think limp, it falls pretty easily into the limp category. It's not quite strong enough to raise call. I don't know. I heard you say it in a 500K chat today too about you talking about. I remember Elio was talking about it too. Just like raise calling hands like king queen there, and he thinks it just murders, and it makes sense that it would. I don't see why we would have to deprive guys of reshoving like, their king tens and king nines and like, queen tens, queen jack, queen nine. There's still a lot of combos of reshoves that we're gonna just dominate. Eights here. I don't think I was gonna raise call anybody really. Glad to just get it through. Maybe raise call Aptivova. Pretty interesting lead. I thought I'm trying to remember what maybe I was thinking at the time. I think it goes back to one of those spots. I wouldn't expect him to have very many barrel hands that wouldn't just call my bet on the turn. And at the same time, I should have. I think I'm going to have a lot of lead bluffs in this spot too, or at least enough that maybe he can imagine I have, to where maybe even like a hand like ace king, where that would just check back, might get sticky and just call. And I still don't expect. I just don't expect him to ever fold any over pairs. I don't expect him to fold like eights plus. So just getting all those hands that would c bet to still call, and then still be able to have a bluff range to maybe get heroed by some other hands that would otherwise not put any more money in the pot. And we're lucky he just shoves over. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, and he just picked up a jack, and I don't know if he would have. I don't know if he would have continued barreling that hand. Maybe he would. Maybe that hand. For the same reasons I thought leading was cool. He thinks he can still rep some bluffs. I feel like there's a lot of spots out there where they're just not going to double barrel enough, and when you go ahead and just turn your hand into a lead, you're going to still be able to get value from hands that otherwise wouldn't put any more money in. Just went ahead and tried to induce against this guy. Unfortunately, he had the stones. Yeah, here was that spot. If I hadn't noticed that he was always 4xing, I don't think I would have reshoved here, but just being able to remember that information definitely comes in handy later. I don't remember who said it, but somebody did bring up a really good point about when guys open up like 3x to 4x in certain spots, and you're not sure whether you want to reshove, like your hand might be in your reshove stack. I think I'm going to just start erring on the side of reshoving anyways. Somebody brought it up, like, one, obviously it's nowhere near, favoring strength. Wow, what happened here? But yeah, one, it's never, it's nowhere near always favoring strength, and two, you're just getting so much better. You're just getting such a better price on your reshove. If they're going to make it 4x now, instead of, I think a lot more hands become profitable because Because what normally there's gonna be like 5 bigs in the middle, now there's like 9 bigs or 7 bigs. But here, let's watch this again. Just lamb, see ISOs. Okay, yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, I definitely like going for a little bit of value here. Especially with my history with that guy. I don't expect that 8 to really change much after he ISOs. I don't think he has many 8s in his range, so. Or any 8s in his range, really. Yeah, I might value bet myself against a hand like Queen Jack or Ace Queen, but even those hands I would expect him to bet him on the turn, so it's pretty easy value bet. Seems like a hand that pretty good limp candidate. And I don't know how hard I would typically attack this board. I think I'd like to see it maybe triple barrel there, especially if a club came on the turn. Pretty interesting combo. I kind of like it with that suited, with that low suited connector, and I wouldn't expect him to. I don't think he's going to be very peely against this. I'm just really trying to go for a steal against a pretty good stack with some decent ICM factors going. And when we do get flat, we still have some equity. It's pretty sneaky good hand. Start skipping around ahead here. Oops. What happened here? Oh, okay, it gets flatted. Yeah, definitely just call here. Huh. This guy's been so tight. I think my thought process was he's just never gonna fold. I didn't think he would ever fold to a shove, and I'm pretty content with one. I don't really want to just call and then have a call behind and then have some pretty devastating cards come on the turn. So I think I'm pretty content with just taking my equity against this guy's stack. I think with the diamonds out there, I think I think it leans towards maybe just shoving as the better play. If maybe let's say that's like a jack of clubs, maybe just call and try and get some more value from a hand from Janik. But yeah, at this point, I just don't ever see him leading this size and then folding to a shove. So I just kind of want to secure my equity in the hand and try and maybe block out some flush draws or some straight draws that might come along otherwise. Yeah, cool. Here, this seems like a pretty good board to just go ahead and just take a stab at, three-handed. Could probably three bet there. This guy's kind of been sticky to three bets though. Maybe I was thinking I don't really want to get flatted here. Just well, the one time I don't ISO, we just flop the nuts. Uh, Maybe just check back that turn. I think I could reputably check back like an ace high or something like that. Maybe my thought process though was I thought I would always bet ace high, which I probably would if I had like a hand like ace four or something. I'd probably just go ahead and bet it. And when after I don't ISO pre too, maybe he thinks that I don't really have any ace highs, which would be a really good read. And he probably should think that because it's the first time I didn't ISO him over a long period. So this board definitely smacks that range. But man, I just own this board so hard that maybe I should just check back. Even though it doesn't make so much sense, maybe, yeah, maybe you should still just check back. Ace king here, definitely gonna three bet call. Cool, take it down. And back to me and Janik. I can't remember, I think this goes pretty standardly. A lot of shoving pre-flop. I don't think we get mixed up into any hands really in this heads-up match. A lot of stuff like this. I think he actually gets down pretty short before he gets all in. He starts folding a lot. Yeah, I just win every pot here on out, I think, until this hand. And that's the tournament. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. It went longer than I thought it would, but hopefully there's some good stuff.